What is up, guys? Back with another video. Sorry it took me a while to make another video, just my recording schedule. And I want to start off with our current forecasts right now, but covering each year in the US, of course. Now, when I mean calm, it's really calm. I keep on saying that, but now it's actually very calm. Like, I'm not even kidding. I know I'm emphasizing a lot, but literally, besides some flooding in the southeast, some winter up in the far north of some freezing mix, and some mountain winter warnings, that's literally it. Now, here's the thing, though. We can talk about the future, which looks interesting. Not in terms of storms, though, because storms look like they're not going to be good. I mean, today there's going to be a marginal risk for severe weather, and that literally just says, yeah, then it's going to get really quiet with the storms. But that's not the thing we're looking at. Today, we're going to be looking at some other storms, and the reason why we couldn't cover those is because they don't really have much predictability, potential, or stuff on them. But the good news is that, hey, we're going to be able to look at the long range. At least it's going to be a long range how it looks. So take it with a bit of a grain of salt. Don't expect that's literally exactly what's going to happen. So we're gonna go to our sorry about that. We're gonna go to the forecasts, and right now, since my last upload, things have changed a lot. So let's start with this 6 hours from now, which is gonna be really late tonight, on 11 o'clock tonight. What you can expect is this storm right here. And that's what I was saying. The jet stream is going wild. Literally deeping dive into Texas before literally just like almost perfectly curving. This is something we almost never see. However, with this cold front you see dragging along here, that's going to bring the bubble of cold air into the mid-Atlantic, basically just the east of the United States, and pushing that warmth out. You'll see this later in the temperature model, but by the time we hit the 12th hour, which is going to be tomorrow around 5 a.m., you can see this line of precipitation has moved greatly to the east and is now off the coast. We got some snow, that's why they're saying that's winter rises, and a new storm that's coming that we don't see the low pressure center yet, but I want to say it's pretty strong. By the time we hit the 29th, things are looking interesting. A new low is developed over the Rockies, and this has formed its own low, which will be the start of a nor'easter as in 995, sitting off the coast of North and South Carolina. As you can see, what I mean by this is that precipitation is still going to be lingering off the east coast. However, you can see this starts to move north as we get to 1001. Now, this is my main concern. Because of the warmth on the eastern ridge, there is not much snow going into this except for the far eastern areas with cold in them. As you can see, a deep cold has plunged over the north. But this is about the ridge. So as you can see, 982 off the coast of Connecticut. Now this is pretty interesting. And I do think this is pretty interesting. So 982, that is strong. That is strong for spring. And 1001, that's going to dissipate out, trust me. Or maybe strengthen, but that's a 978 off the coast of Nova Scotia / Maine, so that's a very strong low. Like, lows don't typically, but that's not even a strong low for winter of that sort. Never mind March or April. This eventually becomes a 977 on Nova Scotia. And I wanted to see what the impacts are, because I don't mind this, but you can see heavy snow if you live in the northern New England areas, and freezing rain too. Both of those will see some pretty bad storms. A 1006 low, which I don't expect is going to do anything besides dissipate and become general low pressure. And then we have this new thing that just collides with the eastern coast. Now, this eventually reaches its peak at 975 too. But as you can see, it weakens, heads north, and eventually dissipates. However, by that time, a 993 low pressure is formed over Colorado, ready to make a move. And as you can see, precipitation building, but the weakening for some reason. Why is it weakening? It's because due to ridging. As you can see, most of the country is in a warm spot except for the northern parts. So this will kind of rip the storms apart. As you can see, this will just punch the storm south. But then, see 1005, 1004, 1000. Now this is the problem. It got off the coast again. If it gets off the coast, then you already know what happens, and this thing just completely rips apart the whole New England coast. And we're talking, this one might even be stronger than the other one because we're talking low pressure around 990. And look at that heavy snow. I wasn't talking about low pressure, but I was talking about little. But actually might, because first off, it doesn't go north, so it doesn't dissipate due to cold air. And it just kind of circulates. It's literally just sitting there. And look how heavy the snow is it's bringing. Well in 2 feet. Well for 2 feet, I could expect. Now, this eventually, yes, it eventually dissipates, but not without putting up a good fight. Meanwhile, we have a 995 low pressure system developing on the 6th of April. What could this expect? Well, you'll see. It's going to start moving and becoming a 990, which is pretty okay. Like, that's okay for spring now on the 7th. However, it looks like due to the jet stream of us being a massive ridge, it curls. It literally curls way up, and we won't see this. Now, this kind of dissipates, but we have a new low forming as a 1000 low pressure. I was thinking, what is this going to do? Well, you can see it becomes a formidable force for severe weather. On the 8th, I would not be surprised if we see a moderate, maybe even high risk for severe storms across that area. And this literally becomes a 987. But since in April, this wasn't bringing any snow. So it's just a 987, which is strong. However, it weakens, but it's still like a block of rain. And thankfully, we don't see a nor'easter from this one as it just moves north. But that's a lot of rain. Like, coastal areas can easily see flooding, so be prepared for that. And again, that's severe weather risk. By the time we hit the 12th, things will look very calm. Maybe even calmer than right now, as of just some scattered rain showers in the Rockies and some scattered rain showers north. But otherwise, nothing. Now, this is probably the part people have been waiting for. We're going to be looking at the temperature outlooks. Now, right now, you can see that heavy warmth is building on the east and some cold building on the west and some warm air generally developing. But as we move along, you can see it's like a battle. And again, that's what's causing severe weather. That was a couple days ago. You can see that. You can see that was causing severe weather a day ago. But now this battle, so it's like they battle, okay? It's not like just like general weather. It's kind of like they battle. As you can see, the cold trying to force the warmth out. And that always happens. It's never the warmth forcing the cold out unless if the warmth is coming in. But as you can see, the cold eventually resurges and takes over the region. Bringing along some nice cold, mild air. However, on the Friday 29th, a new warmth is going to develop, which for some reason doesn't make it. It takes off and creates one of the most common jet streams I see. With a high over the south, when cold along this area, that's where you can see the jet stream. That's usually when that happens, but this moves east and causes warmth across the region. By the time we hit the second, it looks like we have cold moving in from a storm, but warmth moving in from that too. We're going to go to the GEFS, which can go all the way to 384. And yay, the models are broken. Let's go. So, starting now, as you can see, the GEFS and the EPS are disagreeing on this, as the GEFS is saying more northern cold and less warmth, and the EPS is saying heavy warmth and less cold. So, yeah, as you can see, that creates more stronger cold here. And that's going to move along and kind of, and again, they're saying more severe. They usually make it more severe. Like, this jet stream is going to look way more amplified than the EPS, as you can see. But this warmth generally moves again, and this time we get to see way longer. So this is a continued part. As you can see, the warmth gets pushed out, but it's immediately followed by warm air. But for some unknown reason, that warm air basically turns into dust. As you can see, by the time we hit the 4th, we have cold over the parts of the northwest and cold parts of the east, with a singular warm block in the center. This warmth, it does the same thing as we saw, but not as severe. Like, we just saw that really weird event where the storm kind of just comes out. That warmth comes out and just rips across the U.S. that we just saw. Well, yeah, this is the same thing, but way less severe, which is good. However, something weird happens on the 9th, which is I think the word gets averaged out because it's an ensemble model. This would be impossible. There's no way we're just going to see warmth on this side of the country and nothing anywhere else. And this jet stream looks very weird. Like, oh, sorry about that mic drop. I just dropped my mic. But anyways, as you can see, warmth across like the east, but there's no way the cold doesn't form. And yeah, I was right. This cannot be a pattern. There's no way. There's no way, okay? So just take this with a very grain of salt. And yeah, nothing really much to cover. So, anyways, hope you have a wonderful day or night, wherever you are. Please consider liking and subscribing. And I hope you have a wonderful day or night. I like to say that many times in my videos. Anyways, goodbye.